A rainy New York night, a taxi driver met a waitress. Neither of them knew this simple ride would change their lives forever. The rain fell softly over New York at night. City lights reflected on the wet asphalt, creating a golden glow that was beautiful yet cold. On a corner of a Manhattan street, an old yellow taxi slowed to a stop. Behind the wheel sat a young man, 28 years old. His hair was slightly messy, his jacket simple, and his shoes showed clear signs of long use. There was nothing special about his appearance. His name was Ethan Walker. To the world, Ethan was just a night taxi driver searching for passengers to earn tips. But in truth, Ethan was a young billionaire, the owner of one of the largest technology companies in the United States. He chose to live in disguise, not because he was bored, not because he wanted attention, but because of one thing money could never buy: genuine love. Honestly, in my opinion, people who have everything are often the loneliest. And Ethan was the clearest example of that. Ethan was born into a modest family. His father was a bus driver, his mother a nurse. He built his fortune on his own starting at the age of 21. In a short time, his life changed dramatically: luxury homes, private jets, elite parties, and beautiful women who came and then left. Everyone smiled at him, but no one truly saw him. Every woman who came close asked the same questions. What other companies do you own? How big are your assets now? No one ever asked, are you tired? Are you happy? That was why, for the past 3 months, Ethan chose to disguise himself as a night taxi driver. He wanted to meet people as they truly were. He wanted to be loved without status, without numbers in a bank account. That night, the taxi door opened. A young woman stepped in, slightly out of breath. Her restaurant uniform still clung to her, a simple white shirt, a brown apron, and her hair tied casually. "Sorry, Brooklyn, please," she said softly. Her voice was gentle, tired, yet polite. Ethan nodded. Of course. In the rearview mirror, Ethan saw her face. Beautiful, but not the kind of beauty that was forced. It was beauty born from simplicity and the exhaustion of a long day's work. Her name was Lily Carter, a 25-year-old restaurant waitress who worked double shifts just to pay rent for her small apartment. During the ride, there wasn't much conversation, only the sound of rain and the quiet radio. Then Lily spoke. "Today was really hard, but thank you for the ride. Other drivers usually complain a lot." Ethan smiled slightly. Sometimes listening is more important than talking. Those words made Lily turn her head. Before getting out, Lily handed over the fare and a small tip. "I'm sorry, this is all I can give. I'm just a restaurant waitress." Ethan shook his head. "It's okay. Thank you for being honest." Lily smiled, a warm smile, not a polite one. When the taxi door closed, Ethan sat in silence for a long time. Not because of her beauty, but because of the way Lily saw life. No pretending, no hidden intentions. In my opinion, that was the moment fate quietly began to move. Ethan started the engine, but his heart remained on the Brooklyn sidewalk that night, beside a restaurant. Waitress who had no idea that the taxi driver she met was a billionaire, and without realizing it, that simple meeting would change both of their lives forever. Since that rainy night, Ethan couldn't forget Lily, not because of her beauty, but because of the sense of calm he felt whenever he was near her, something he had never found in luxury boardrooms, elite parties, or multi-million-dollar business meetings. 2 days later, Ethan deliberately took the same route. He parked his taxi not far from the small restaurant where Lily worked. It wasn't a famous place, just a family restaurant, with dim lights and the warm smell of soup drifting out every time the door opened. That night, Lily stepped into the same taxi again. "Oh, you again," she said, surprised, then smiling. "New York is small," Ethan replied lightly. The ride felt more alive. They began to talk about the weather, about late-night work hours, about life that sometimes feels too heavy to face alone. Lily shared how she had come to New York from a small town, carrying a simple dream: to live independently and honestly. She worked as a restaurant waitress from morning until night, sometimes without a single day off. Ethan listened. He didn't tell her who he really was. He only said that he was a taxi driver who liked the night because the city felt more honest when people were tired. Lily laughed softly at that. From that night on, their meetings were no longer coincidences. Ethan often waited around Lily's finishing time. Sometimes Lily called a taxi. Sometimes Ethan stopped right in front of the restaurant. They began to know each other more deeply. Ethan learned that Lily liked cheap coffee from small street-side shops. Lily learned that Ethan always worked until dawn because he didn't like going home to an empty place. Sometimes they sat inside the park taxi, sharing stories while drinking hot coffee. There were no fancy dinners, no expensive gifts, just simple conversations and quiet laughter. Lily never asked for anything. She never asked how much Ethan earned. She never judged him by his clothes or his car. She only cared about how he listened. And that made Ethan fall, slowly but surely. One night, Lily got into the taxi with red, tired eyes. Today a customer got really angry just because. The order was late, she said softly. Sometimes I feel so small. Ethan pulled the car over to the side of the road. You are not small, he said calmly. You are strong. Not everyone can survive and stay kind in a hard world. Lily fell silent. Tears slipped down without a sound. It was the first time Lily had cried in front of someone in New York. Ethan didn't touch her. He simply stayed there, giving her space, giving her safety. From that night on, the distance between them grew thinner. Lily began to wait for Ethan not just as a taxi driver, but as someone who made her feel at home. But behind all of it, Ethan was living in two different worlds. By day, he attended board meetings, signed massive contracts, and was called Mr. Walker by everyone around him. By night, he was a simple taxi driver named Ethan, falling in love with a restaurant waitress. Every time Lily smiled, guilt crept in. He knew that one day, the truth would have to be revealed, and he was afraid. Afraid Lily would change. Afraid she would feel betrayed. Afraid everything beautiful would collapse because of a single identity. One night, as Lily stepped out of the taxi, she said softly, I'm glad I met you. It feels safe. Those words pierced Ethan's heart. That night, Ethan sat behind the wheel for a long time, staring at the glowing city lights. He knew one thing for certain. This love was real, but its greatest test had yet to come. Autumn arrived in New York with a gentle chill in the air. Yellow leaves fell onto the sidewalks, and the city felt a little calmer. Ethan and Lily's relationship had changed from a routine into a necessity. They no longer met only inside the taxi. Ethan began walking Lily home, sitting with her in a small park near her apartment, and sharing simple meals from the restaurant where Lily worked. One night, Lily said softly, I never imagined I could feel this close to someone I met in a taxi. Ethan smiled, but his chest felt heavy. He knew he couldn't delay it any longer. Ethan invited Lily to meet at a classic restaurant in Manhattan. Not a luxurious place, but neat, warm, and quiet. Lily looked nervous. This place is nicer than usual, she said with an awkward smile. There's something important I need to tell you, Ethan replied. Before they touched their food, Ethan took a deep breath. Lily, I'm not a taxi driver like you think. Lily fell silent. Her smile faded. Ethan continued, his voice trembling. I own a technology company. The taxi was a disguise. I wanted to live normally. I wanted to be loved without people seeing who I am. The room felt still. Lily slowly stood up. So all this time, you were lying. Ethan lowered his head. I was afraid of losing you. Lily held back her tears. I fell in love with the Ethan who sat behind the taxi wheel, not with your wealth. She walked out of the restaurant that night, leaving Ethan alone. Days passed without any word. Ethan returned to his world, meetings, contracts, and towering skyscrapers. But everything felt empty. He sold the taxi, not out of shame, but because every corner of it reminded him of Lily. Meanwhile, Lily tried to move on. She continued working as a restaurant waitress, still smiling at customers. But her heart was elsewhere. One night, as the rain fell again, Lily found an envelope in front of her apartment door. Inside was only one address and one sentence. I want to be completely honest, if you're willing to listen. The address led Lily to a simple house on the outskirts of the city. No guards, no flashy luxury. Ethan opened the door. He wasn't wearing an expensive suit, just a simple shirt. I won't hide anymore, he said. And I won't ask you to accept my world. I just want you to choose, if you still want to. Lily cried. I was angry because you lied, she said. But I realize now, you didn't disguise yourself to deceive me. You only wanted to be loved. Ethan slowly knelt down. Lily, I fell in love with the woman who returns to her small apartment after a long day of work and can still smile. If you're willing, I want to marry you as who I truly am. Lily nodded through her tears. I choose you, not the taxi, Not the money, but your honesty today. They married 6 months later. There was no grand celebration, only family, close friends, and sincere smiles. Lily continued working, but now she studied part-time. Ethan continued leading his company, never again hiding who he was. Every night, they often laughed while remembering their first meeting in that old taxi, because their love was not born from luxury, but from two tired people who truly understood each other. Closing. Honestly, in my opinion, if the story I created actually happened in the real world, it would be rare, perhaps even feel impossible. But that is exactly where its message lies. True love never asks who you are, how much money you have, or what your status is. True love asks only one thing: are you honest, and are you sincere? Welcome to ADI's Voice Channel. This channel features fictional stories, including inspirational stories, romantic stories, and emotional life stories filled with meaningful moral messages. Important notice: all stories presented in this channel are purely fictional and created for entertainment and educational purposes only. The visual images are original creations generated using AI prompts. The narration voice is produced using AI voice technology for storytelling purposes. Any resemblance to real persons or events is purely coincidental. Content purpose: entertainment, inspiration, moral lessons, and life values. Light educational storytelling. Thank you for watching and supporting ADI's Voice. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you enjoy our stories.